Cognizant recently announced that all the employees should come to office. And if they don't come to office, then potentially that might be leading to termination. On the other end of the spectrum, completely opposite end of the spectrum, Salesforce CEO said, I prefer working from home. I'm a remote person. I can't be productive at office. Look at the two contrasting natures of the debate related to work from home versus work from office. Where do you fall in these two different zones? And I want to present my case and I want to tell you where I stand, but I will walk you through a few facts which you need to be aware of and be more logical in that decision making. So let's start with the first point, which is you look at the recent announcements from HSBC and Citibank. This was dominating the news in the last few days. Both of the companies have said, Wall Street bankers, that it is mandatory for the employees to come and work from office in New York on the Wall Street. And the reason is very straightforward. They said there are regulatory changes and now there will be more audits and some surprise floor visits. And if an employee is working from home, they can still do the audit, but it will be a lot more expensive to do this. So working from home is not possible. Working from office makes a lot of sense because of the regulatory changes and the business needs that. Now the second case is, let's take a product company, just like how the Salesforce CEO has said. If you look at just Salesforce, the product roadmap is very clear. What they want to achieve in the next 6 months, there is visibility. Transparency across the teams is also there. So even if the team is working for 10 days a quarter from the office, it is enough for coordination and communication. I'm not talking about the product companies in the Indian startup space. There's a lot of back and forth happening. They are not yet established to the level of Salesforce or Google or Microsofts of the world. Hence, in these product companies also, it makes sense to have work from home. Now, the third example that I want to give you is from the services space. Within the services space, if you look at a management consulting company, again, they deal with clients day in and day out, but still they prefer to go to the client's office and travel. Why is that? Because the projects are super short. 8 weeks, the project is done. And you are dealing with the CEOs and CFOs. Scheduling a meeting itself is a pain. So if you want to meet them and if they are there in the office, you would rather go ahead directly knock on the door and meet them. Makes a lot of sense. But what I don't understand is when there is no business requirement and when there is no logic around it, why do you need to work from office? Let's take an IT project, an IT services company. It could be Wipro, Cognizant, Infosys, any of these guys. The IT maintenance project will run for multiple years. The roadmap is clear. And in fact, you are not doing any development there. The coordination is also straightforward and the client is not even sitting in India. The client is sitting in the US. What is the point of coordination over there? Why do you need to go every single day to office? And what happens in this specific scenario is, if they want to recruit a new person and that new person comes in with a skill set which is in high demand in the market, the company says, okay, you don't come to office, you work from home. That's the perk that we are giving, and we are giving you that perk because we want to hire you immediately. Now you see there are no clear boundaries, and this is the problem. This indecision, right? There is lack of transparency. For some people in the telecom project, they will say, hey, you have to come to office. And for some people in the mining project, they say, go work from home. For Java folks, they'll say, come work from office. For folks who have expertise on Salesforce or AEM or any other such kind of niche skill, they'll say you work from home. This difference also creates a lot of discrimination and that unnecessary tension in the office. But why the reason to even call to the office the first set of folks, the Java folks, or any other technology for that matter? There are a few reasons that these companies share. The first one, which is not very obvious, right? Again, not a people-specific reason at all, is the infrastructure. They have built huge infrastructure, office spaces. If they are not being used, what do they do with that? How can they talk about it in their quarterly results? Infosys, Cognizant have built huge office spaces. What happens to them? This is not people issue at all, but this is a real issue for them. Then the second issue is much more of a people issue. The trust between an employer and employee. The fundamental aspect of the relationship should be based on trust. But if you don't trust that the employee is going to work irrespective of where they are located, then that trust breaks immediately, and that leads to a revolving door of employees. Somebody comes in and somebody goes out. The third thing, again, which is not spoken directly in front of employees, is that these guys can go ahead and say to the client when they are pitching for a new project that, hey, the productivity will improve because our teams are working from office. That's a subtle sales pitch that they are building. Nobody talks about these things, right? Whether it is trust, whether it is real estate, or whether it is pitching to the client. All you keep hearing is the general jazz that, hey, coordination should improve. Our culture should be improved. The new guys don't know about our culture, but don't even talk about it. It's all bullshit that they are speaking about. There are a lot of unknown reasons. Now that is where I stand. If there is a very clear reason why there is no work from home opportunity, in case of banking, in case of insurance, in case of healthcare, where you can't even take the data beyond your office, absolutely makes sense. It's a business reason. If I want to continue in that sector, that's the trade-off that I have to make. Otherwise, I'll switch into a new sector. But what doesn't make sense to me is if there is no supporting business logic, and if the reasons that are given are all apparently just fluff, then why? Why should somebody go and work from office? Even more so if other companies within the same domain are saying that, hey, we will give you work from home. Now you let me know where you stand and what is your reason. And if you think I have not covered any of these unsaid reasons with respect to work from home versus work from office debate, do let me know in the comments. And let's share this video so that at least a few top level executives in the Cognizants or in the TCS and Wipros of the world do look at it, and I would love to hear their reactions as well. Thank you guys. See you again in the next one. Bye bye.